Yeah, so welcome back guys to my YouTube channel, and today we're going to be looking at another form of beam information and how we can represent or communicate the beam information to all the different trades involved in building a building. So these people are like the contractors, the electricians, the plumbers, the tilers, and those type of people. So I want to show you how you can actually show the information needed by each of them, because maybe a plumber might not be needing the where the furniture is and that type of thing. So I'm just going to show you how you can represent some portion of information to the right people and show them only the information they need. So with that said, I'm going to just remind you to subscribe to my channel and make sure you like if you like the video, so that we can continue growing and continue exploring Archicad together. So yeah, so for the different trades, I'm going to approach it in a way that I'm going to create different folders for each person, and then I'm going to provide the information necessary for each one in their folders, so that they can just be easily accessible to somebody who's trying to pull information out of the file. So to create the new folders, I'm going to just come to the working drawings folders, because if you have watched my previous videos, we created the different folders for the different stages of construction, from the concept up to the working folder. So this is the working drawings type of information. So we're going to create new subfolders under the working drawings main folder. So I'm going to right click on the working drawings, and then I'm going to create a new folder. And then I'm going to I'm going to name it different trades, so that we can actually have different subfolders for the other people. So different trades. Yes, so with that said, I'm going to create it, okay, and then I'm going to create new subfolders for each person. So I'm going to start with the contractor or the builder, and then I'm going to go and put for the carpenter or the carpentry or joinery information. Carpentry, yeah, carpentry, and then I'm going to show you how to for the tiler information for the one who's going to do the tiling, and then I'm going to also represent information for the electrician, and the last one is maybe I'm going to represent information for my plumber. So those are the main people who are involved in making a building to be finished and be ready for habitation. So now I'm going to spread out the necessary information to each folder, and then I'm going to manipulate it so that we can only see what is necessary for each person. So to manipulate it, I'm going to go to the organizer, show organizer, and then I'm going to copy some information into each of these subfolders depending on what is necessary by each person. So yeah, so for example, you can see we're going to need the plan for every person is going to need the plan, because that's a very important thing for each and every one of us. In terms of let me make sure everything is okay, because I can't see the top there. Yes, so I'm trying to copy the plans into my different subfolders. So for example, this one, I'm trying to copy it down here. So let's just make sure everything is okay. Yeah, so I'm going to just copy some necessary information into the subfolders. For example, for contractor, we'll need our stories. Then I'm going to copy it there, and we're going to need the same thing for our tiler, and then for electrician and the plumber. So for the electrician and plumber, I'm going to approach it in terms of, I'm just going to show you how you can detail one story, and the other ones by default will know how to do them. So to save on time, I'm going to show you only the ground floor for the electrician and the plumber. Yeah, and virtually for everybody. So I'm just going to finish up like that. I think everything is ready, so I'm going to press X now, and then we are going to start right away with the contractor. So let's open the ground floor for the contractor. Yeah, so you can see it's just the same plan, but it's just spread out in each subfolder. So we're going to accomplish this by using layer combinations. And if you have been following my videos, you know how to use these ones very well. So we're just going to create new layer combinations for each and every person, and we're going to apply it to each and every person depending on who it is. So I'm just going to create a new layer combination for the contractor, and then I'm going to create the same new layer combination for the carpenter, the carpentry information, and then I'm going to create a new one for the electrician or the tiler information first, tiler, and then the one, and create another one for our electrician or the electrical engineer, and then the last one is going to be for our plumber. So we're just going to be manipulating these layer combinations so that you can only see what is necessary for each person. So for the contractor, I'm trying to see only the whole outline of the building without the furniture. I'm just trying to see where the tiles are and just that type of thing, the dimensions of the whole building, and that's the only thing I want to see for the contractor. Yeah, so with that said, I want to see also the position of my windows, and I don't, maybe the markers and for the elevations are not necessary, so I'm just going to hide what is not necessary. So for example, the interior furniture, you don't need it for the contractor. I'm just going to hide it, and then I'm going to update. Then the next thing, maybe the markers, we go to the viewpoint, and we're going to hide the markers for the elevations and the sections. So we're going to update that, and I think that's the only thing we need to hide for our contractor. And if we press OK, you can see now you have something like this, which the contractor can now read easily and accomplish in terms of building it. So yeah, so with that said, now I can just come to this one, go to the view settings, and make sure that's the layer combination that remains default. I'm going to make it the contractor, and then I'm going to press OK. So with that said, that's the only thing the contractor will need. Yes, and maybe you need the interior elevations, which I thought I already put, but you can actually just put them manually. Yeah, by just clicking and showing the interior elevations, so interior dimensions, I mean. So yeah, that's the only thing you need for a contractor. Yeah, so yes, so make sure your building is documented to its full extent, because you don't want to have something not built because you do not highlight it. So let me make sure everything is highlighted, because I want my building to be complete. So I'm going to make sure it's complete. So yeah, so that done. Now I can let me first just break this one down into what we want. Yes, so you can see now this one I want to make the font to be one, a bit smaller, and then you can finish off with this one, the font, the dimensions for this part. Press OK and pull out like that. So that's it. I think we're done. We are finished with our contractor information, and he or she is going to read out my plans and be able to build my building. So let me first finish off this countertop, the worktop for a kitchen. Yeah, somewhere there, and then yeah, so this is what the necessary information the contractor will need, and that's how you represent it. So for the next thing you're going to do, you're just going to make sure everything is for the contractor, and then you're going to go to the next person, which is the carpentry information. So contractor, and make sure it's working drawings, and then press OK. So the next one is going to be carpentry, or at least we should first start with the tiler because I think they are more related with the contractors. So I'm going to go to the tiler information and I'm going to open the ground floor so that you can manipulate how the tiles, which information we want to see. So go to the documents, layers, layer combinations, select the one for the tiler, and then we hide what you don't want to see. So maybe we don't want to see the furniture again, interior furniture, and then we update. We don't want to see, I think the interior furniture is the only thing we don't want to see for our tiler. Yes, so, and maybe the markers too. So for the sections and elevations, so viewpoint and then markers for the sections, interior elevations, and let the one for the interior elevation to be open first, and let's just update, and then you can press OK. So for the tiler, this is what he or she is going to see. He is going to see the type of tiling and the extent of tiling in terms of the dimensions of the room and where everything is tiled. So that's the most important thing for a tiler. So I think the next thing we can do is make this place tiled too, the countertop, because he or she is supposed to tile here too. So I'm going to the fill and I'm going to select the one for my countertop, which is 15 by 15, and then I'm going to magic wand it on where we need it. So yeah, I'm going just to take the fill again, make sure the fill is selected. Yeah, and then I'm going to minus some part of it where the sink is. Yeah, so with that said, now you can see the tiler will see where in the floor plan he needs to tile. If he needs to tile below the staircase. Yeah, so for the next thing I want to maybe tile is I have a button that is below the staircase. So maybe this point 2 is supposed to be tiled. So let me just go and select the one I want and do that. Let me control Z so that you can able to be see. So and make sure I tile the where I want to. Yeah, something like this. So yeah, so with this said, you can see this is the tiler information in terms of the floor and the counter, the working top for our kitchen. But there's other information for the tiler needs, maybe tiling the walls of the bathroom, which we're going to show in another folder. We're just going to draw out interior elevations from another place because mine is I already hidden the interior elevations and stuff. So I've hidden the furniture so you cannot actually see everything. So I'll do that later and just bring the information back to my tiler. So with that said, now you can see, you can now put every view to have the layer combination for the tiler in the tiler subfolder. Yeah, so make sure it's a tiler. Yeah, so okay, so that done, now you can go to the next person, the carpentry, and we're going to open the organizer again and bring what we need for our carpenter here. So we need the floor plan. Let me go to the stories and the stories, and we need to copy it into the carpentry too. Yeah, so with that copied, now I can remove it and open the ground floor for my carpentry. Yeah, so for the carpentry, I want to see the cabinets where they are, the door schedules, and and maybe if we have any other thing that is needing joinery or wood, maybe the wardrobes is going to be necessary in the carpentry. So I'm just going to open the organizer again and bring the schedules to the carpentry subfolder. So the schedules, I'll find them in the view maps, and I know, I did the door and the window schedules, and I'll have to copy it to the carpentry. So save view there. Yeah, then it's done. So so we're going to draw interior elevations for my kitchen, and then you're going to take information of the wardrobes and only for the ground floor, because by default, if you know how to do the ground floor, you know how to do the other stories. So for the window and door schedules, I already covered them in one of my videos. So if you want to know how to make a detailed or a good window and door schedule, just go down to my videos and look for the one for the windows and doors. So I did it in a whole separate video, so I'm just going to put the information down to my carpentry. So the most thing I'm going to do is the interior elevations for my cabinets and the wardrobe. So let's go to the viewpoint, interior elevation. Then we're going to draw where we want our interior elevation to cover. So I want it to cover the kitchen in terms of where the boundaries of the kitchen are, and I finish it off by drawing the something like that. So you can see now. Yeah, and from these interior elevations, if we find other information that might concern, maybe the tiler, will still bring the interior elevations back to where the tiler is. So let's now open and see what we're dealing with. So when we open the kind of view settings, you can see we have some information here, and I'm going to make the settings a bit clearer so that you can see what is a tile and what is wooden. So I want to make the surface fill ground curve to be checked, and I'm going to, I think that's the only thing I need to check to differentiate. Yeah, you can see these are tiles and these ones are wooden cabinets and the base cabinets too. So what we want to draw from this is we're going to the dimensions, and yeah, that's the only thing we are going to communicate to our carpenter. So let's take the dimension tool and dimension what you need. First of all, let me make it a bit larger for a bigger scale, because this is an interior elevation. Yeah, so, and then we're going to draw the dimensions from it. Yes, with that done, you can see the carpenter will know how much or how high the cabinets are and how long they are too. Yes, so I want to show also the height bill from the ground so that he knows where to start building my cabinets. Yeah, that's already represented. Now the next thing we want to represent is maybe the cabinets here, the lower cabinets. We're going just to draw things like this and then press OK like that. Do the same for this other side too. Make sure it's okay. Let me backspace that. Maybe put it on the right place. Yeah. And draw out the information needed. Yeah, with that we can also draw the height of our cabinets. Yeah. Yeah, let me just make sure everything is okay before we continue. Let me first just drag these ones upwards a bit because I think they were too low. Yeah, and maybe this one is the only one that will change. Let me remove this one and put the right dimensions. This one up to here. This is just the type of information our carpenter will need. So yeah, exactly. So with that done, now you can see he or she will see how the drawers will look like and their dimensions. So it just be a matter of building the kitchen cabinet. So let's now break down this one more detailed, and I want to break it down in terms of the drawers. show how they are divided. Yeah, so I'm going to continue by doing this. Yes, so with that done, now you can see we have carpentry information for the kitchen, and I'm going to do the same for these cabinets here. Yeah, and I'm just going to make their font a bit smaller because they don't want them to appear like this. Yes, so I'm going to do that for this area and do it for this area. Yeah, so this type of information is going to be useful for a carpenter, and he'll see how he can position the different the cabinets in terms of the height and their dimensions. So we can go back to the ground floor and we can select another one that is going to concern him. Maybe this other view. I think this one is going to have something concerning about him. Yeah, and then we can make the settings to show what we need. So I'm going to make the horizontal edge to be infinite. I want to see where the windows are to, and I'm going to press OK. And now you can see what we have. I'm going to just show the only thing that the carpenter needs to see is this cabinet here and this one. So we're going to dimension it and finish off our carpentry information. Let's make sure it's in 1 to 50 because this is an interior elevation, and finish off. Yeah, so the next thing is this one. I think this one is, we want to know the height from the ground and then the height. I don't know why it has not shown. Supposed to show, but yeah, the last thing we want to show is this one, because the length is the only thing that is important, because we already know the height because I already showed it in the other view. So yeah, that's the only thing we need. And yeah, exactly, so I think that's the only information the carpenter will need at this point. And the other views don't concern me because they only have a wall and maybe this other area. Yeah, it's just something irrelevant. So those two views are the most important in this interior elevation. So the next thing we're going to take out is the wardrobe, which we're going to use the elevation tool and the section tool. So for the elevation tool, I'm just going to go to the settings first and make sure it's only going to show the wardrobe. So I'm going to make the vertical range to be limited and to be a bit like 3000, and only show the ground floor, and the horizontal range should be infinite, and the stories should only be the ground floor. Yeah, so the model appearance should be surface foreground, should be checked, and that's the only thing that is needed. So let's press OK, and now draw an elevation just in front of our wardrobe and open it so that you can detail it and take it to our folder. Yeah, that's how it's going to look like. And yeah, so I'm going to dimension this quickly, yes, a bit quickly, because I have a lot to do. So I'm going to press OK and do that. Do the same for the height. Come downwards up to here and then press OK there and like that. And now press the same thing the other side and show the partitions. So exactly, so that done, now I can show the partitions in terms of where it's starting and where it's ending, and I can show where the drawers are like this and the height of the stand. So I'm just going to reduce the font for this so that it can be relevant. Yeah, so something like this. So you can see this is the view of the wardrobe in terms of the without it being opened, and we're going to show also how the view is going to be when it's open. So using our section exactly, so you can see this is something the carpenter will need, and he'll need this to when he's making the wardrobes for my house. So the next thing I want to show it when it's opened, and we're going to use our section. Let's come to the section tool and then do the same thing that we did with the elevation in terms of the view. So I'm going to make sure it's limited to a height of 3000 and only limited to the ground floor, and also the storage should only be the ground floor that is visible. So I'm going to press OK, and I'm going to cut my section through my wardrobe and then show it like that. So I'm going to open it. When I say pulling out information, this is what I mean. After you finish your project, you just now take information out and present it to your people who were involved in the project. So make sure you detail your project too, and you finish your design first before you start pulling out information for your builders. So with that said, I think that's okay. This is just going to be a matter of showing the partitions only, because other things I've shown in the first view. You can see now I'm just going to show it like this. Then I'm going to make sure it's the font size, or the font size is like 1. So that's the only thing we need, and maybe let me drag a copy of these downwards here and partition it in terms of the drawers. So make it 1 first, and then I can now partition it, showing how that type of information, and also maybe this type of information here, and exactly, that's what we need. So this is what you're going to show your carpenter, and he's going to take it out and build your wardrobe. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to the electrician and then the plumber. So with that done, I'm going to first take this information and present it to my subfolder for the carpenter. So I'm going to the show organizer, and then I'm going to take the elevations that I've just drawn and the interior elevations to the carpenter. So I'm going to first look for the interior elevations, and I'm going to copy it to the carpentry subfolder. Here it is. Then I'm going to save the view there, and I'll also come back with this same view, and I need it in the tiler, because you can see there's a backsplash in the kitchen, and that's the only thing we're going to be needed there. So the next thing is going to be the 2 elevations that I've just drawn. Let me go and look for their names. It's going to be section 3 and elevation 6. So let's go back to the organizer and take that information to the carpentry subfolder. Section 3 to the carpentry, and save the view there, and make sure the view settings are okay. So and then there's elevation 6. Let me take it and save it to the carpentry too. Make sure it has entered. With that done, now we can go to the electrician. Go to the electrician and open our ground floor. It's just going to be appearing like this, and you can see it's a lot of things going on. So I'm just going to go back to the layer combination and show only what is needed by electrician. So I just don't need the fields for my I don't need the viewpoints in terms of the elevations and sections. I'm going to update it. I don't need the let me control Z that. I'm not in the electrician one. Let me go back to the electrician. I don't know where it is. Yeah, here it is. Again, I'm not going to need this. Update this, and also I won't need maybe yeah, I think that's the only thing I don't need here, and maybe the dimensions for the whole building. It's going to be unnecessary. And let me update, and yeah, let me press OK, and you'll see what happens. Now you have a plan like this. Now the only thing we're going to be showing here is going to be the switches and the sockets, where they are positioned at for our building, and yeah, that's the only thing we're going to show for electrician. So yeah, so for our switches, we're going to find it in the objects tool, and we're going to look at it in terms of, let's just search for switches, and it's going to come out. So you're going to look for one that is only one pole, maybe just one switch per room, and then I'm going to press OK and just place them in my floor plan where I want them to be. So let me control E this one so it can be somehow like this. Yeah, and I'm going to control Shift D and drag a copy to where I want another one to be, somewhere here for our kitchen. Control D, it's some right position, and another one here for my bedroom. Control E it. That's as simple as that. And then I'm going to drag this one back here to this small bathroom that is inside here. Yeah, I think that's the only places that we'll need our switches. Yeah, when you enter, you open your switch and the lights are on in the living room, and maybe when you enter this side, just come straight and switch on the lights here at the bedroom. Yeah, you're supposed to be thinking in that type of way. So we control it to make sure it's something like this. So the next thing is our sockets. So we're just going to open back to the objects and look for sockets. Sockets. Yeah, socket with two gangs. I think this one is the interlock switch in a outlet. Yeah, let me look for something like this. Yeah, see this one, double socket. That's what I want. So I'm just going to download it, and I'm going to now put it into my floor plan. So let's just wait for it to download. Yeah, so let me see how it's going to look like. Yeah, something like this. So I'm going to come here and place it where I want it. So for example, yeah, so I need one socket here for my cooker and fridge. So I'm going to control it to make sure it's in the right position. And just drag it down once here, yeah, and then I need one for my TV there, maybe somewhere here near the switch, and then one for my bedroom. Control D, and then I'm going to put it somewhere here so you can charge it maybe in a coffee table if you have one. So you can see our sockets are distributed well. You can see one here and maybe another one somewhere here, so somebody can charge inside the sitting room itself. So let me just take it and Control Shift D and put it somewhere here. Control it so that it can be rightly positioned. Yeah, somewhere here. Just as simple as that. So that's what the electrician will need, and we're just going to label it with our label tool so that he or she can know what these things mean. So let me come here and go to classification. Yeah, I'm going to describe them in the property manager, and then I'm going to just label them. So go to the options, property manager, and then the description, and then I'm going to add other option sets for the two things that we have. So yeah, so we are going to now write the different option sets for our switches and sockets. I'm going to write the one for the switches, switch, one pole, one pole, and then this one for our sockets, two outlets, with switches, switches. So with that done, we can press OK. Yeah, and then we press OK, and then we come back to our plan, go to the classification, and now name each and of them. So this one is going to be a switch, and then this one is going to be let me look for a socket that is alone, maybe this one, and name it socket. Go to the classification, name it as socket, two guns. Yeah, so that done, now you can actually now just label them in terms of coming to the label tool, taking that out, then going to the description and adding. You can see it's going to automatically add what we put in. I'm just going to make it a bit smaller, maybe 2, and we're going to, yeah, so we're going to now offset it maybe to be a bit smaller, maybe like this, and then I'm going to drag it outside the plan somewhere like there, and then I'm going to label the switch too. So I'm going to come here. Yeah, so we're going to do the same with the switch. Just go there, and maybe let me confirm if I already put it. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to check the label tool, and then I'm going to label it, and click there, go to the description, and then add it. It will automatically appear. So with that done, now you can see this is virtually what the electrician needs to see, where the switches and the sockets are, and yeah, that's all he needs to see. And you can do the same for the upper floors, because we've done only for the ground floor. So the last person we are going to deal with is going to be a plumber, and we can just go and do the plumbing for our ground floor. So for the plumber, I want to only see where my drain lines and the intake lines are going to run. So I'm going to hide everything just to remain with the furniture in terms of these toilets and sinks, and and I'm going to manually draw the drains and intake pipes using the line tool. So yeah, so we're going to go to the layer combinations and do the same thing for our plumber. Just go to the plumber. I'm going to hide all the viewpoints, all the markers for them, and update, and then we're going to hide the dimensions too. So because we don't need to see the dimensions for the whole building. So I think that's the whole thing we need. And then you can see, yeah, this is how it's going to appear. And then we're just going to cement it to be the combination to be that for the plumber. Yeah, so okay, and then we go and now draw our drain pipes and the intake pipes. For my building here, it's not in any part of any sewage system, so it has a septic tank, and the septic tank is somewhere here, this place here. So I'm going to draw it out. We're using maybe an orange color, and then I'm going to draw out my septic tank, which is located here. So this septic tank, now we can now draw out our drain pipes with the same orange color, which are going to run from the toilet. Let me use this type of line, and it's going to run outside and go straight into the septic tank. So for the toilet, for the sink, and for this sink too, all the drain pipes are usually the same. It does not actually have the different type of drain pipes or everything. It's just the same drain pipe. So, and everything is going to run to the septic tank down here. So just going to show it with the orange line, and our intake tank is going to be is somewhere up here, and I'm going to show it with blue. It's in the upper section. It's on a high. It's at a height. So the intake pipe, we're just going to show how the intake pipes are going to run. Yeah, so using the intake pipes are going to run through the walls. Let me show it well. Maybe it's going to run through the ground first and then into the kitchen, the sink, and up to there. So let me make sure this is the last point. So I'm going to show it with this some type of thing, and then you can see it's a blue line. Now it's just being a matter of just bringing out the drain pipes from the pipes into the sink and the toilet. So yeah, that's what I mean by showing the plumbing information, just as simple as that. It's not that you are doing the whole work, you're just showing the plumber where the drain pipes and the intake pipes should run. So with that said, now you can now label it manually. Label the blue lines. Let me just zoom in to it and label the blue lines. First, let's label this one, and let's label it as drain pipes. Yeah, so let me enter, and then let me click outside and drag it outwards to be somewhere here. So yeah, that drain pipe, you can see we have a drain pipe, and then the next one is going to be our intake pipe. So I'm going to label it like that, and then let me make sure it's not the grid, it's in the drain. Yeah, so we're going to label it too. Let me make sure it's somewhere I can see it. So I want to make sure it's there. So yeah, so I'm going to label it intake pipes. Let me escape, and let me control Z that first, and then intake pipes. So that's all about for the plumbing. You can actually do the same for the story 1, and it's just a matter of just showing how your pipes are going to, you want them to run, and where septic tank is and where your water tank will be. So I want to save this view so it remains zoomed like this. I'm just going to the view settings, and I'm going to make sure it does not change when we open or we close our file. So I'm going to make sure it's in the current zoom. I'm going to remove this, then I'm going to press OK, and then I'm going to do the same for everything that you've done. So I'm open for the electrician, and let's make sure it stays for the electrician. So let me make sure it's there, and then it's like that. Yeah, so I'm going to make sure I'm going to save the view in terms of a 2D. It's going to remain at the current zoom, and then I'm going to uncheck that. So I'm going to make sure it remains like this. Yeah, so when you open, it does not change. So let me go to the tiler, do the same. Let's make sure it's in tiler, then press OK, and then yeah, I think we have finished almost everything, except for maybe the tiler in terms of the backsplash. Yeah, so let's just look for the one that we had. I think it was this one. Yeah, so for the tiler, this is what is remaining. We want to show how the backsplash is. Yeah, so I'm just going to dimension the backsplash in terms of how wide it is or how long it is. And then I'm just going to press OK. And I'm going to change the color so that it does not become different. It becomes different from the carpentry information. So Then I'm going to show how high it is, maybe from there to there. Let's see where it is. Let me show somewhere here to here, down here. So I'm going to press OK, and then I'm going to drag it back outwards. Then I'm going to make sure it's red. That's the only thing that I think is remaining, because the tiler will need to see this backsplash. So let me make sure the other place is set to. Yeah, you can see this backsplash too. I'm going to draw it out because it's somewhere here up to here. Then I'm going to drag it out like this, and then do the same with this one. And the height will just remain default like the last one. So yeah, so I'm going to select both of them and just change the color to red. So this is just what I meant by communicating these two different threads, and hope you have learned how you can actually now communicate to your different people who are going to assist you in building a building. So yeah, after you finish all this, now you can just put them into your layouts, but that's another video. So I know you have your own master layouts and your layout, so you can just make each try to have his or her layout and put the information there and publish it and send it to the person who is concerned with the what you are communicating. So hope you have learned, and that's what I meant by communicating to different threads, and hope you have a view or an idea of what you are supposed to do. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned and subscribe into my channel. So thanks.